From Cincinnati, Ohio, the San Diego of the Midwest, and Bowie, Maryland, this is Behind the Bots, the podcast that brings you the stories and the people behind the bots. I'm Jake.
And I'm Brandon.
And today on the podcast, our interview with the Too Hot to Handle team member and Caldera builder, Glenn Boxell. We'll wrap up the show with this week's installment of Robots Around the World. If you like our show, please rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Player FM, and Podbean. And follow us on Facebook at Behind the Bots. And tell a friend. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your support with the live. Tons of fun. Thank you very much. Okay, Brandon, what's going on in the world of combat this year? Or this week,
well,
I'm
sorry. both are true. Both are true. So for combat robot events in the week of June 21st, we have events all across the world. We have events in the US, UK, Italy, France, Netherlands, and Brazil. So first, we start off with Valley Springs, California, where the West Coast Combat Robotics League is hosting their June event with 46 machines across the 150-gram US ferry weight, 1-pound ant weight, and 1-pound plastic ant weight classes. In Houston, Texas, the June Jamboree event is being held with 37 robots competing across the ferry weight sportsman, ant weight, plastic ant weight, and beetle weight classes. In Goshen, Indiana, the Mayhem at Midwest Rip Rap Festival, or MRF, sponsored by Polymaker, good for them, is hosting 83 robots across 2 days. We have robots in the ant weight, plastic ant weight, and sports and beetle weight classes. Heading up to Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, the Battle in the Berg event is being held with 38 machines across the ant weight, plastic ant, and beetle weight classes. Now going across the pond to Bristol, UK, there's the BBB June Ant Social event being hosted in a brewery, and they're hosting 150-gram UK ant weights, fun time of social gathering and little light robot fighting. In Leeds, UK, they're hosting the InfoSec BattleBots event, which is also being held 150-gram UK ant weights. Similar case as well, where we go down south to Queensferry, UK, where they'll be hosting Battle in the Berg, but British, with entries in the Beetleway classes. So we have a little connection there with our little American brethren, too. In Mulhouse, France, they'll be hosting the Maker Fight, where they'll be having featherweights competing across 2 days. So get excited for all the people in France. And if not, go to France. In Rome, Italy, the Robot Arena Challenge event will be hosting sportsmen 150-gram robots competing as well. In Groningen, Netherlands, I hope I spelled that right. And then there's more. In Makplet Boilevat, man, I just can't speak Dutch. They'll be hosting an event with 150-gram ant weights as well on Saturday. And now for the largest event of the weekend. In Brasilia, Brazil, the RoboCore Experience 2025 is happening across the weekend with entries in all types of robotics. This is classes from ferry weights to 60-pound lightweights, from sumo to line tracking, and so on. All these massive teams and BattleBots entries such as Federal, or I should say Warrior, and then Minotaur from Riobots, and many, many more, including machines that fought at NHRL. BattleBots fans may also remember that Ray Billings attended a previous event, also here, with his 30-pound robot Disinformation. And while we don't think that Ray's going to be competing there this year, rest assured this event is massive. And I'm sure that we'll all be excited to see what happens, and make sure to look out and follow for RoboCore Experience on YouTube as they post the event. Get these details and more at robotcombatevents.com, buildersdb.com, and bristolbotbuilders.com. And now we head into our interview with Glenn Boxell, builder of Caldera and winner of 3-pound Golden Dumpster at June NHRL.
Thank you.
Hello, Glenn Boxell.
Hello, Jake. Hello, Brandon.
Thanks for
Hey,
coming.
Glenn.
Good to see you, Glenn.
Hey, good to see you guys.
So let's pop right into the questions. What is your day job? What is the day to day of Glenn Boxell look like?
My day job is I work for TJX companies, and I take care of their phone systems for them. And right now, we're in the middle of transitioning from an Avaya phone system to a Microsoft Teams phone system. So it keeps us fairly busy.
Everyone here loves Teams and thinks it's the
And
best, and they love
then,
applications.
I can't say I'm a fan of it.
so you're at work, you do the phones, and then outside of robot combat, you beat up on younger kids at robot combat. What else are you
Yeah.
up
Um, I I used to play a lot of softball and do golf and that kind of stuff. Uh, and I played roller hockey, but now my time is dedicated to the robot combats and RC racing.
RC racing. So what?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So kind of. Oh, do you have your race car? Here, pull that up.
That's an old school one.
Ooh.
And this is
This is
the
an
one I'm
RC10.
building out That's the one I'm building out currently.
Oh, nice. Is that an RC10 for your old machine there?
This is an old Kyosha Optima Mid.
Wow. Those are classics. Okay. That is old school. I also do RC car racing, so I definitely see get the background for it.
Yeah.
Man, that's old school indeed. But yeah, very cool.
Thanks.
Do you still race often? Do you still compete alongside Robot Combat with racing RC cars?
I'm racing every Friday night.
Oh wow!
So, the only time I miss the racing is when I'm heading down to NHRL for events.
Nice. He's always competing, guys. So
yes,
you're getting hope. People hope and pray they can get driving practice in, but you, Glenn, this is casual. That's like your every week rotation going in.
Yep.
So you're constantly driving something.
I always got every week I've got the RC radio in my hand, driving one way or another.
That's tough to beat.
Man. Yeah, everyone else here is destroyed.
Yeah. So what's the biggest carryover? You drive your 4-wheel drive electric motor.
Yeah, these are electric motors. Mm-hmm. And the biggest carryover is knowing how to use the batteries, the ESCs, the servos, and the radios, knowing what to tweak on the radio to get it to turn a little better or slow it down on your turns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those tweaks can be done on the radio.
Yeah. So when you're, for any new builders, when you pick up a controller, what are the first things you look for in terms of like tuning that handling to get what you want? What do you want to see in your handling?
I want to be able to adjust how fast it turns, how far that it is allowed to turn. Mm-hmm. And then on the throttle, I want to be able to set the exponential on how fast, how far do I have to pull it before it actually takes it back? Because I have a heavy trigger finger, so I'll pull further than I should. So I have mine curved quite a bit to avoid that initial takeoff.
Oh, I know the feeling. You're like, listen, you'll keep like maybe half trigger down nominally, and then maybe you'll jam it back for brake so you can sort of get it to begin rotating. But you're still more or less assuming, all right, I'm gunning it because the guy next to me is also gunning it, and I don't want to let him get by me. And so
I really don't know what brake is. I don't know what brake is.
Turn tighter. It'll just, you know what? It'll keep it going. As long as the wheels are turning, it's pointing the right way. You'll keep moving with it. They're pretty fun. They've taught me a lot as well. Sort of the same idea. A lot of the ESC stuff, especially, is really good basics for the robots.
Well, when you're doing your wiring, your soldering, and how to connect, think and stuff like that. What's a good solder connection and what's not. You learn a lot in the RC that transfers over to the robots.
Oh, 100%. I think like one really good example I've seen just overlap wise is whenever I've used Castle stuff on the RC cars and then use it for the weapon systems and a lot of robots, same situation. Like more than once I've gotten issues where it's kind of like, man, I wonder what the issue is on it. I'm kind of like, wait, let me try zeroing it out using like my old pistol grip. And then like, okay, there's the issue. It just didn't zero out correctly. And I sort of, go back and tune it from there. I can figure out the punch control on it, drag brake if I'm really feeling ambitious and using it something else. But you kind of get a feel for that because you're experienced with them.
Yeah, I think one thing that correlates from driving to robots is when you go to the failsafe. If you don't have your things trimmed out to zero before it's failsafe, they quite often won't failsafe. So you got to go back, rebind with it zeroed out to get it to failsafe again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's that key. I mean, it's a little easier coming from RC cars to robots, I'd say, just because you have all the sort of soft skills learning into it. Yeah. And for anyone else out there, because right now, because the June event was like the last NHRL event until about October-ish.
What are we gonna do for all summer?
I'm gonna race some RC cars now, man. I have a buggy and a 4-wheel drive short course sitting on my shelf doing nothing for like the past probably 10 months or so now because of all the NHRL events. And now it's like, man, hello old friend. Time to go down to the local track and drive them again.
I'm gonna come back like rusty compared to you guys. Your track time. So the new hotness kind of around combat right now is AM32. Everybody's kind of moving over to that. I would say it's a pretty even split at this point, like AM32 and other firmwares. What is it like on the RC car side of thing? What firmware are you guys running?
They're actually proprietary on the different ESCs.
Okay.
Beacon's got its own. The car ESCs don't go by that. Now drones and that do. But
yeah,
you won't see that.
Like the crawlers are really what the AM32 is geared after, and even with those, a lot of their systems historically are just sort of based off of that. So when you're talking hobby RC car firmware, you're more talking like who's your manufacturer, like Hobby Wing, Castle, Tekin. They're pretty prominent, or Traxxas, there's the other one. They're all very prominent producers of parts, and because they make them for a hobby, they're very closed system. So you're always kind of like, what can I tune? The answer is you don't tune them. You buy the bigger one and you send it. That's why they will always just like tell you what to do and makes it sort of simpler in that way. There's only some slight tuning there.
Yeah, the racing, the Tekin and other racing ESCs, they've got a lot of settings. You can go in there and tweak on there to get better punch or better braking and stuff like that in them. So.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you get a big weapon, that's very helpful. I used to use a Tekin RS3 in the very first version of Phenomenon's, or second version of Phenomenon's weapon. And that was useful because back then, even sensorless control, which I still use now, Tekins, because their ESCs are so overpowered current-wise, they're used to hitting like hundreds of amps at peak.
Yes.
You can just sort of gun it. And that's what weapons for robots do all the time. And so that system hasn't really ever changed for me. And because it was so overbuilt, it's like, okay, if I had an issue, I could open up the Tekin system, whatever. I'm like, all right, increase punch, and it just works.
So if I'm thinking about it, if I'm thinking about a 30, I might consider my Tekin motors and ESCs.
Are you thinking about a 30?
I'm thinking about one. Okay. I just can't get my wife to let me. She says I can't spend the money.
Thank you, Mrs. Boxell. Yeah. I appreciate it, Mrs. Boxell.
The only thing keeping the 30 pounds safe is Mix Boxell, an unlikely hero. There we go. Cool. Okay, so you're doing RC cars. So how did you pick up the robot combat? How'd that start?
It's people have probably heard the story a number of times now, but Brian was into Vex Robotics in high school and grade school, and I took him around, and he went off to college, and we enjoyed the robots together, and he knew I loved it. We watched BattleBots and everything on TV all the time. So he ended up down at a competition. I'm not exactly sure how anymore. He comes back, says, "Dad, you gotta come check this out." And that was the end of that story. And that Christmas, he designed me the first Caldera, which was a very poor design. But the second version, which came out in July of that year, did well, and it's been iterated on ever since.
Very
It was a great job, great time with him.
And that's very sweet. That's a very nice way to get into the sport. It's like the mere opposite. Because I know in my case, it was me dragging my dad to take me places, and so it's kind of funny being like, "Oh yeah, this is the case," but like in your case, you sort of like ran with it too, and then
Yeah.
Caldera is like the fruit of that.
Yep.
cool.
It's very sweet.
So what was Brian? How was he? Was he the same level of competitive with the Vex as he was with the Combat? Uh-oh.
I I don't know who's more competitive though, me or him. But he is
Ooh,
ultra competitive.
Yeah.
Uh, he was he was always there at the top, always being wanting to win and doing his darndest to win. So
Cool.
it hasn't changed any.
consistent. I like it.
Yeah.
I will compliment you. You both are amazing examples of how to be ferocious competitors, but also respectful competitors. Like
Thank
you
you.
all both uh, exemplify that extremely well. What and this is kind of a heavy question. What does that mean to you to be competitive and to be respected at the same time?
It means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It I always want to win, but I'm going to congratulate the person and be respectful of the person when I'm be if I lost to myself, I'm still gonna go over to them and say, "Hey, great job." But when they seriously kicked my butt, and I think a good example was the fight at the end of the Chainsaw Kitty and Caldera at the finals. She kicked my butt, and boy, did she deserve it! And she earned a lot out of that fight. And I was so happy for her, even though she had beat me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. Favorite moments throughout your career, is that up there, and what else?
Hey, top one at the moment is last weekend. Okay,
Respect,
winning
respect that.
the
Sure,
last
sure.
100%.
Everyone
weekend
likes
is
winning.
the
That's
top
an
one
easy
now.
one. That's an easy one.
Yeah. Um, but I've had some good moments in fights where that I have lost. I had some good experiences just working with people and meeting people and learning from other people up in the pits. Our community is unlike any other, and you can learn and respect every single person up there.
Mhm.
And that I get more out of the people, or I can't say more, but as much out of the people up there as I do the combat robots. And it is means a lot to me to go down there and to have the support from all the fellow competitors, um, and getting all uh, getting the feedback from them and everything. It means a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's excellent stuff. And so, sort of going along with it, because of all the experience that you've now had, because Caldera's been fighting an absurd number of fights now. I think it's like the most
It's the
number of
most
fights
fights in
for a robot.
NHRL. Yeah.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah, it's an absurd number.
It,
And so a lot of
it now holds the most fights, the most wins, the most losses, the most knockouts, and the most being knocked out.
Wow.
Truly the ultimate.
It's got all the highlights. It's got them all.
It's got them all. Well, then naturally, you got to ask, if it's got them all, if you have all these supreme superlatives, are there anything else that you want to look out for? Is there any other superlatives you're shooting after?
There's only one other superlative to go after, and I think that one's unreachable.
Oh,
and that's JMO's eight dumpsters for the 3 bottles. I think that one's kind of unreachable.
I don't know. You just took one of those 8 down just recently.
Only 7 to go.
It's only 7 to go.
6. I got
the
RIT one.
That's true.
It's
true.
Yeah, I'm sorry. 6 to go.
Yeah, a second.
Absolutely.
But I don't see that happening. I think
that's
that
even easier.
Another 5 years of competing.
That's even easier. Well, Caldera could do it. Clearly, if it can last this many fights, it'll go on for more.
I don't know. JMO comes out. He signs up for 1 or 2 tournaments. He's going to win one of them. Okay, he's just got to raise that bar. If I ever even came close, he'd just go raise that bar.
So he's going to try to keep moving that legacy, huh? So you're going to be like, so what we're thinking is that maybe he'll calm down Silent Spring for a little bit. He'll see you coming like, okay, all right, Silent 2, sending it in.
Yeah.
Now you got to beat to 9.
For the record, 120, and this is on Brett's own, so it has not been updated yet. 123 fights, 80 wins, 43 losses, 48 KOs, and 22 KO'd.
Yep.
That's some numbers. That's all timers.
Now, if you look at those numbers, though, you'll see the first 2 years. Caldera was just, that's what the building years. The last 23, 24, and 25 have been the years that it's actually been doing really well. And the 2025, 2 of those knockouts were tap outs at the end that I chose to tap out.
Okay, so the first 3 years or first 2 years, 14 losses, 12 losses, and then a sharp decline. So what do you feel like happened to make that turn into 2023 and especially 2024?
Caldera needed some iterations on, and I would take, after each fight, look at what broke and why did I lose these fights, and then I would go work on that aspect and fix it. Some of those fights I lost because of battery time. There are like 4 or 5 of those I got knocked out because of battery. So I had to learn to drive within the battery capacity and not run out. And then this year batteries got better, so I was able to get more power out of my batteries, which helped. But each of those first 2 years, we're finding the one thing that needed to work on. When the first spot came out, there were plastites holding it to the frame. I've now upgraded to standoffs to hold the frame together. I had a couple of fights, one against Predator Bro, where he hit me and it blew the cover off. That's the original Caldera that you just put up there. It's the very first one that we fought with.
Wow. So that is radically different. So when I pulled this up, I did not expect it to look quite that different. So it was a full undercutter.
Yeah, it's like a slim black.
Yeah.
That's machine than more now.
That one lasted 3 events.
And then this is when it came back in the current
configuration. And moved into July.
I think that's part of the enduring legacy people's. Because I think a lot of people, especially from 23 onwards, as the NHRL's viewership increased and a lot of the builder numbers who went to NHRL also increased, they've mostly seen the orange Caldera that people see today. Only a few, old heads maybe even remember the black one. And they look at it and visually, I think they think, oh, it's the same machine. Like, I think most people probably have the three definitive points of like, okay, silver nose, orange guards, and like the black base with maybe some orange in the wheel. But I imagine even within that, there are probably like a handful of little changes you can see. Like, I mean, Minibot's one of them. We saw that in some of this newer versions here. But
that's come and gone.
Yep.
Some of the changes are like on the side guards there. There's 3 screws holding it on front and back. That has changed. There's now a standoff going down through that holds that all together. And it's one full piece wraparound now.
Instead of bolted on. That's the most recent photo, unfortunately.
I see. And also looks like you've done a little bit of like shaping with the support struts as well. Usually they were more 2D, now they're sort of more 3D.
The originals were just 2D, and then we needed to get some weight, and we went to this design to get some weight. And then last year I was trying carbon fiber.
Ooh.
And I have since gone back to this design this year.
So what motivated that shift to and then subsequently back from carbon fiber?
I wanted to try the carbon fiber because the aluminums would get bent and stay pressed, and it would compress the bearings. But the carbon fiber ended up just total failures. When it broke, it broke. So there wasn't any coming back. The fight was essentially over at that point. And now that I've gone back to the aluminum ones, it's doing better. It's now getting to where it's extremely hard to knock out Caldera.
And that's what you like to see.
Yes.
Ah, cool.
Man, that's original. Those are original wheels.
Old school.
So that was that photo. When was that photo?
That was the 2021. That's the late 2021. Maybe
early 22. Yeah. So has it always been indirect drive on the wheels?
Yes, it has always been gear drives.
Yeah.
And I had to learn a lesson on the gear drives. And when it originally came out, the gears were just nylon G pressed onto the shafts. And it would lost a few fights because of the wheels. The gears would strip out on the shaft. It would just round out and not go nowhere. So I had to learn a little lesson there, hard way. But that was back when we were just learning.
I can't get over this. This looks so different. That's great.
I still got parts in the corner back here. I could probably take it out and put it back together.
Ooh, see, that's what we were talking about. Think of Caldera X, and that's how you play the game.
Caldera X,
Caldera Classic, if you were. Awesome. But yeah, thanks for telling us about Caldera here. And we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back and probably dive into a few more viewer questions.
Great. We'll be back with some viewer questions. Thanks, guys. Welcome back from the
All
break.
right. Welcome back from the break. There we go. Welcome back from the break. So, it's one of the viewer questions. And it's a really interesting question because I think it's one of those questions that really hits at the titular behind the bots part of it. So Glenn, he asks, so sort of like what evolves for you over time as you're fighting with Caldera? So what's changed in how you fight between, let's say, fight 30 to fight 60 to fight 90 to 120? How is the way that you drive Caldera, sort of manage the machine, evolved as you sort of learned it and practiced with it over time?
I would say early on, it was, driving skill on the bot wasn't that great. Um, and figuring out just, what it was all about. I think those are your first 20, 30 fights, just figuring out what are you trying to do in the box? How do you, looking at strategies, do you just go hit them in the face and, just keep doing that? Or do you try to sneak up around them? Uh, and as you go along, you start to learn what your bot's good at, how it handles, and not what the weaknesses are of your bot, what to avoid, how not to get into a situation, and that's a learning curve over time that if you're changing your bot constantly, you're not going to really get to do that much. But if you're doing slower changes, you can see what a change does to a bot, how it affects how it drives, how hard it hits, how much damage it can take. So I would say over time, my initial fights were more head on, running at them and stuff. And there were some times there was one fight with an ant weight down in G Scroll that I did. That taught me a lesson. I lost the fight because I was sitting in the middle, being, trying to, he was running around circles, and I wanted to cut him off and hit him, but they got to control points because I was the one sitting in the middle and driving around. So I had to learn, you know, you can't just sit and pick your targets. You got to go after it. You've got to be somewhat aggressive. You can't let them drive around. You got to go after it. So I've had to adapt that into my driving style more. Um, and then you've also got to real look at if you're ahead, don't get too aggressive because you're going to break. I've lost several fights because I kept hitting too much. And there's a couple of fights I hit them, and the BEC wire came off one fight, so I lost control and died. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's those kind of things. Don't overdo it when you don't have to, and also be respect. I've always been the type that I'm respectful of the. If I see they're damaged, particularly now in the qualifiers, I look over and ask them, "Do you want to continue? Do you want to keep going at it? I want to give them the chance to save their repair time and their money, as instead of going at it. But if they say keep going, let's go. We're going to keep going at it. So,
Uh,
um,
I will add, Maximizer versus Caldera was my most expensive fight ever. I think it was something like, let me be clear, I wanted it. Oh, I wanted every second of it. But I think it was like $800 for like a minute and a half. I think it was something horrible like that. Oh yeah, no, and I kept saying yes. Don't for a second think that I said no. I wanted all of it. So yes, it's my fault, and oh yeah, I wanted it. So I think that first fight was Max Caldera. I think it was like $800 for like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
And you wrecked the tail, you wrecked both sides of my drive, and you wrecked my weapon pulley, my belt. It was the most damage. The wedge was wrecked. It was the most damage I had ever seen, and I wanted every second of it. So don't feel bad. I kept doubling down.
I didn't feel bad on that one. That was that fight when as an introductory to 12 Punk was probably one of the top fights at the time that I ever fought. That was the most, gratifying fight ever to come in and beat Kick Maximizer because you had the title at the time, or you were the bot to beat, and to
Not
come
like
in with a
now.
fresh bot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Cool. So what was some of our next question is from Bobby Mellenballer. What were the most fun fights that you've had out of 120 fights? Pick two.
I think one of the most fun fights was actually against Kokoto and Serial Killer because we were just playing. And I would go in under the cereal box. You lose sight of your robot. You don't know what's under there. You go in, hit it, and go back out. And Kokoto made it so much fun.
That's awesome. That's
and then
such
I
a good
guess
answer.
the Maximizer fight was fun. So
fun for you, man. Come on.
Would you put the Maximizer fight up there too? That's just for the 12-pound. Because you do got Caldera 30.
Yeah.
Sorry, Caldera 3 and 12. Sorry. They have those as well. So any cool Caldera 12 fights that come to mind? They have Jake's as one, but any other ones?
Cool ones.
I can think of my favorite.
You caught me off guard on that one. I'm thinking the one with Honeyfied. Then we both. I think it was the one. They won the tournament. And,
Oh yeah, that's Honeyfied.
Yeah, that was Honeyfied. And we had such a good fight going up front. And then he got my weapon. So, and then it was just me running into him for the rest of the fight, just trying to break his weapon with my face again. But, and that one at the end, I was beat. I wasn't sending it to the judges. I tapped at the last second.
Sportsmanship that goes with that, because I can definitely understand if someone's like, listen, the bot still rolls, you run it to the very end, the bitter end, but sort of acknowledgement on your part of like, you know what, I'll take that. You know what,
you earned
it.
Why send it to the judges? They earned it. Let them have it. Right then and there, man.
Exactly. That right there, still next on show quality too.
Yeah.
My favorite Caldera 12 fight right now. I will say my favorite Caldera 12 is against Cornell Benny John when you blew up that beater. Oh my gosh. Oh, and let me tell you, so I was watching that fight and I was in the stands and there were some Cornell parents in front of me and they just go, "What was that?" Boom! And they're just like, "What was that?" And I was like, "That was the weapon exploding." It was so loud. It was one of the loudest noises I've heard in the big box. And let me tell you, half that beater, it hit that roof and then it hit, boom. That's what it did. It bounced.
Yeah, it put a hole in the roof.
Yeah. So that has been my favorite Cal 12 fight in recent memory. So that was May 3rd of 25.
Yeah.
Just brutal. So are there any dream fights that you have not gotten yet?
I wouldn't say dream, but I haven't fought Synthesis.
Ooh, Corey.
That might be a tough fight. That would be a real hard fight. I do want a rematch to see if I can finally take Silent Spring. I just, I want. That's what I was like. God, I'm over with him. So I want that.
What about synth? Like, what about it? Do you what do you want out of that fight? What
stands out to you about it?
Yeah.
Why? Well, I haven't fought him, and he's such a tough. That Synthesis is a hard, tough fight. Look what he did to Booty Brigade. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he demolished them. You know,
Yeah. Took him apart.
Yeah.
yeah, and that is a bot. It scares the hell out of me. But somewhere along the lines, I'm gonna have to fight him sooner or later to see who comes out on top.
That's true. I mean, like
I'm
you
not
sort of already
sure.
mentioned with like,
I don't know.
like you kind of already alluded to that with like Silent Spring as well. Because I figure with both of
Yeah,
them, it's kind of like, all right, you want to be the best, beat the best. Jameson's
exactly.
gonna see you start coming for his golden dumpsters and be like, never mind. All right. All right. Let's make sure it doesn't get too close.
Yeah.
I'm sure, yeah. Like I'm sure he's excited for that fight. And he even asked about any configuration ideas for against him. Recommended, get some of those going just in case y'all meet in the finals in December.
Oh, I don't. Caldera's got one configuration really, and
Yeah,
that's just
violence.
Yeah.
although for some over the top soft hammer bots, I'll take off the side guards and put some plates on the top a little bit, try to protect it. And then I do have my one flame bot that I built it a year and a half ago, and is yet to fight a flame bot. It's
Oh.
been ready every one, but hasn't had an opportunity.
Man. So are you saying a Dutch oven fight is also something you'd want to
That
invite?
I wouldn't mind it. The current Dutch oven, I think I can take. The
Ooh.
old Dutch oven, I want no part of. Okay, that old one, that was a monster. This one, I think he's got a few bugs to work out of yet.
That don't
I'm
challenge Alex. That's gonna go horribly.
I thought
I
I
think
thought I
that's not
had
gonna
it.
go well.
I looked at the brackets at the tournament. I thought he was in my. I thought I was going to fight him.
Okay, so
Guess you gotta work
this next question, I'm going to combine two questions. So this is from Tom with stress concentration and Alex Pick. Hi, Glenn. Congrats on the dumpster. You have a third Boxelmania event planned later this year. Is there anything interesting or surprising that you've learned as an EO? Finally, if money or resources were no issue, where would you host an event and what would that look like? Somewhere tropical.
No, I'm not that adventurous. What I would like to do is take these Worcester DCU Center, for example. Get 200 bots down there, 300 bots.
Oh man.
Do a Vex type challenge. How they got the
Ooh.
different divisions, and then all the fighters come in. That would be really cool.
Mm.
Do like 4 different divisions, and then the winners of each one fight each other.
Yeah.
That would be
Ooh.
pretty cool.
So what has been the biggest like hurdle to running? So you run Boxelmania with Brian. How has that gone?
The events have gone very well. Great turnouts, and and all the bots that are coming up, they're ready to fight. We haven't had to wait on the bots or anything like that. The biggest hurdle is the cage, getting it in place because we're borrowing it from NHRL, so we got to transport it. Fortunately, NHRL really helped out this time, and they actually brought it up and took it back. So it made it much easier.
Cool. What has been your favorite fight from the Boxelmania event?
Oh, that I don't know. I really don't know. And when you're running it, you don't get to focus on the actual fights.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, the only major fights I really got to watch were my buddy was running Caldera.
Mm.
I loaned it out and had him driving it for the event, and he got to beat fight Silent Spring, or was it Silent Accent? And
A
that's the
silent
one and
machine.
only time. That's the one and only time Caldera's ever beat JMO, and I wasn't driving.
Wow. Dang.
Wow.
Well, so I mean, it sounds like a good plan. You just tag him in right when you're like, all
Yeah,
right, okay, well,
uh,
I'm finding silent spring. Well, buddy, it's your time to shine. Like
yeah,
a DH in baseball, ready to
yeah.
hit him up.
So I guess that kind of goes with my favorite fight because I got to see my bot beat the other. Yeah, so
That's pretty fun.
Okay, I think we should take a little break and then we'll be back with fight review. Glenn has 2 fights he wants to look at. They were which one? Sad Octopus and Berserker. We're gonna take a look at both of those, kind of break those down. Those were your harder 2 fights?
yes, they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll take a look at that. We're gonna be back after a short break. Thanks, guys. All right. Okay. All right, I've got fight review set up, so we're gonna go live with Berserker. Is that cool? Cool. All right, let me know when you guys are ready, and then I will push it. Okay. Yeah, if I tab out of OBS, it gets very cranky. That's unfortunate. Yeah. But I can have it as long as it's not minimized. All right. Pushing us back to 3 camera view in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, guys. We are back with fight reviews. So this is the part of the broadcast where we break down your favorite robots fights. We're here with Glenn. So this is one of your harder fights. This is against Berserker.
Yes.
So what were you thinking about kind of going into this at this point? It's kind of a conventional 4-wheel drive vert, but what was intimidating about it?
The bot didn't necessarily intimidate me or anything, but as we start going, that first hit, he's got me off balance now. And I'm going the wrong direction. He's all over me. And,
Oh man.
then he gets me going, and I'm like bouncing all over. And I didn't realize it, but I had my weapon 100%.
Uh-huh.
So, and here in a minute, and I'm flying more than usual. And I didn't realize the weapon was so fast. As I'm getting in now, I start gyroing because the weapon's full speed.
So
And
do you usually run your weapon at a fairly lower speed?
I have three speeds: 50, 70, and 90% on the dials.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually run it at 70. But I apparently hit the button to bump it up and didn't realize it. And actually, as we start going in, my weapon starts slowing down because it's using the battery.
Mm.
And this is where I actually start doing better because it's not getting as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Now we're
your
getting
driving
going.
is dramatically much more precise.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm not bouncing because somewhere in there I got his weapon.
Yeah.
But the way this fight started, he had me seriously worried and what's going on this fight.
You're saying this was a hard fight. I don't know. Yeah, it was hard for about 20 seconds, but this is pretty convincing now.
He's got me
now he sort of
pinned.
stacked it.
Well, okay.
Now, he's yeah. And when the scores came out, the only reason I got this fight is because his weapon's down.
Yeah.
So I guess the part with that, so you have like the presets for the weapon power, generally to stay at like a 70% good balance of, I imagine, like power and control with it. How often do you find yourself ever needing to use the lower 50% or the higher 90%?
The lower ones are more for control bots and stuff. I'll drop it down because when it's going slower, it actually gets better bite and flings them more, hits them more. Whereas if it's too high speed, it just cuts through and doesn't knock them anywhere. And then on the I'll occasionally go up to high speed on some of the horizontals, and occasionally avert to get better weapon speed on the horizontals.
So where does that 50, 70, 90, what does that equate to in terms of tip speed?
It's probably I'm gonna say somewhere like 230, 210, and 190 maybe something.
Yeah.
I don't have any measurements or anything to go off of. The theoretical max is 280, or no, actually it was 305 theoretical max.
Oh wow! So you could really gun if you had to.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When did you? Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. That first hit was a monster.
Yeah.
I gave him weapon. He got me.
Yeah.
And that first 20 seconds is like, geez.
I guess it's kind of interesting because I would have almost assumed here with the higher speed of the horizontal, you tried to sort of get that tip speed around first, like the bar comes around faster. But I'm guessing it's spinning so fast it acts like almost like a disc.
Yeah.
Because it's just hitting that same position so quickly. So you probably just undercutted that disc to get that first hit on you.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I didn't realize who this was. This is the same guy who I'm blanking on his name because I'm on stream, and I always do this where I'm on stream. And I forget his name, but he built Kitsune, which was the 3-pound Thagomizer. Oh, jeez. The camera goes out of focus. I was gonna get an up close because I think that's where the weapon goes down. Oh no, it's still gone.
Yeah,
Mark Hansberg.
Mark. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Once the weapon went down, I started feeling more comfortable. But he had me scared and worried on this fight.
That's where it goes down.
Yeah.
So it goes down. It goes down.
Actually, it seems like when your blades begin to slow down, that's when the force able to get into him. And that's when it gets the weapon on the other machine.
Yeah.
Here, let me pull up. Blue Camp's gonna have a better angle.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, like I guess this is like really good demonstration of like horizontal dynamics versus verticals, because verticals is more straightforward, but the horizontal is like a bit more nuanced and just a big bar spin fast.
Yeah, to me, you can't spin too fast with the horizontals. It throws you out of control, and gives the verts more opportunity to hit you.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's been a nice learning.
Oh, yeah, that is.
Like you already sort of alluded to earlier, there's a good bit of learning people sort of get as you tune your robot a bit more, especially with like how you want to feed it. Because sometimes you learn higher speed does not equal better performance, especially in a case
And
of just smacking it harder.
yeah, I have no mathematics, no background to justify my observations other than my experience. So,
And you have more experience than anyone in the sport, so that means something. 120 fights of experience. So people better listen. So do you have a pre-fight, I don't know, a routine that you get into when you pull out of that box? How do you want to be feeling when you after 120 fights, how do you want to feel in a fight?
confident, but I'm always nervous. Every time I go or hit that button, I'm like, oh God, here we go. What's going to happen this time? But I kind of learned, don't get complacent, don't get cocky, make sure you go through a routine, you know, sit down, I actually started just making sure I set down the remote, get through the power on, I'll pick it up. I'm now that I after this fight, I'm thinking, and a couple others, I'm thinking you've got to make sure of your settings on the radio before the fight starts. Don't just go turn in, do a twitch test and go over, spin up, and go. Great. Make sure check your visuals on your radios and everything set up the way you thought.
Yeah, that's a good one of the, again, like I said before, like little details may not immediately come to mind, or at least may seem not very significant until you get moments like this where you're spinning too fast and you're starting to lose control, and you're like, man, should I check that radio?
Yeah, you get a little overconfident or a little cocky sometimes. You gotta keep focus. Don't get complacent.
This looks like the hit that killed the weapon. I'm not sure. I can't really see what happened, but it looks like you just clobbered the side of it. Yeah.
It's like the blade sort of punches into him. It's like your opening side.
The blade was twisted on the axle. The hub broke. Weapon hub.
Oh wow.
Okay. So that's
what it was. A nylon. It was a printed hub, I think.
Oh, I see. So then, basically, I mean, he got a lot of good shots. Him looks like as soon as you could sort of get that lower speed, drive the force into it, and maybe just hitting it slightly off angle, it just put the force into it, and that just made everything unhappy.
Yeah, I have found that I don't want to hit head on so much. I want to get off angled, not straight in, a little cut, just a little off angled too when I hit.
Yeah. That's cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I know nobody used this against me, damn it.
Everyone in the chat's taking
just
notes.
All the secrets have been revealed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Sad Octopus immediately following this?
Or
was there one in between?
Pump was in between.
Oh, a little later.
Okay. Oh my gosh. 85 and 43.
Goodness gracious.
Jeez.
It's just some scary numbers right there.
So do you have a celebration plan for your 150th fight?
No. Hadn't thought that far ahead.
Yeah, it's me with that golden bread. Once you get that money, you can take it out for a trip to Honolulu.
So this is a pretty similar bot. So
yeah,
what was different about going into this fight immediately after?
He had a very tough bot, and he came in, got some good shots on me. I had him off balance, and then he starts coming back a little bit here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I can see sort of the momentum.
Yeah, it kind of turns here, doesn't it? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, juggling.
Yeah.
It's like a really big point about Side Octopus is just now he's able to sort of catch the side of Caldera and
Yeah.
begin tossing the air
Now
a couple times.
I had to recoup, and he got upside down. Now I'm chasing him, and this fight went back and forth like this. And I eventually get a lucky hit or a good hit on him, and it took out his battery.
Oh wow.
He started smoking. But this was a tough fight, which
his wedge
at the end of.
Hey. Yeah, that feels like it feels like it's very tense. Like you're sort of just watching it. It's only a minute into the fight. Both of you have had distinct eras of dominating one over the other and sort of back to back.
His wedge is bent enough that he's hitting it though.
Yeah,
there.
And if you'll notice, his right side's missing the lip.
Oh yeah.
I knew that going in, so I'm spinning counterclockwise, trying to take that off.
Little tricks, little things.
So, do you adjust the direction of spin, or do you put your robot in upside down based on features on your opponent's robots?
I've done both. My weapon goes either direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are some fights I put it in upside down to get the weapon higher.
Yeah.
But I'm left-handed on driving, and so spinning counterclockwise to me works better.
Spinning counterclockwise.
Oh, and there it is, like you saw. Like he looks like he was pressuring you for. Oh, look at that happy dance. Good stuff. Good stuff.
But
yeah, I see what you mean. Though it's like his robot sort of just stopped.
He sort of had to give up there. And it got a hit, and it started smoking over in the corner. He immediately tapped out when it went to the corner.
Oh, look at you caught the edge of that corner, like I said before, that broken off lip. I can see how you're sort of shooting for that side as you're coming across it.
Yeah.
Could you throw them in the complete opposite directions? Like really wrenches into the robot's chassis, just hooks him away. Spins you both, of course, but I think got a lot more force into him.
Pull that up
horizontals go flying no matter what. If they go hit a vert, they go up into the side. They go up into the side if it's a vert.
I can't tell you where I'm going to end up after a hit. Who knows?
It's like a induced chaos every match. It resets the exchanges.
But the Radix fight, which was that before or after this one, was another tough fight. But that one I wasn't so worried about. These two guys, they gave me all I could handle.
Interesting. I noticed they're both four-wheel drive verts. Is that just sort of the archetype that you find just very daunting, or anything else about him that stood out?
Yeah, I have very hard time against four-wheel verts, and Chainsaw Kitty's got my number. I don't know how to beat that one. And that's one where Synthesis is the same type of bot.
Yeah.
That big
wide body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, if anything, because it's super duper wide, it really forces to corral you, which I know is like a very big hard part for horizontals.
Yeah.
So just further challenges you and have to sort of work with that.
Yeah. Chainsaw Kitty isn't wide or anything, but the way her weapon hits mine just hasn't worked well.
Yeah.
I
will say that
it's very, very good stuff.
The most dominant part of your driving is the way that you're able to make the box dangerous to drive in. Like you really do well when you can move around your opponent and you really make the box a dangerous place to be. You have freedom of movement at all times, and your opponent just does not. It's a level of box control that other robots just don't replicate. Went down there.
As soon as they're trying to go in to maybe attack you, the whole fear is that you can keep moving, keep circling. You can grab an edge somewhere, and that just throws them across the box, and it's like a shark, like a shark circling around a boat. It's that same kind of feeling, and I think that's a really good point.
If you watch a couple of the fights, I've learned Jake's move. I
That's
started
trademark.
incorporating that change. I started incorporating that reverse turn or swing that weapon around it.
Yeah.
Particularly when I'm on side or something and we're chasing. I'll, I started doing the reverse turn and hitting them, because they're not ready for it. And I get swung around before they're ready.
But you drive with a pistol grip.
I do.
Yeah. Is that the same controller that you use with your RC cars?
It's the exact same one.
Yeah. Cool.
Uh, yeah, I had to go high end controller to get a left-handed one.
Oh, really? Because it has to be. Oh man, I haven't even thought
You
about
can't
that.
get a
Interesting.
cheap. You can't get a cheap left-handed controller.
No.
Really, none of them are invertible by design, where you can adjust the position of it.
Not unless only when you want to spend $600.
That's true. That is true. No, he's right. He's right.
That's so
That's
unfair.
kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's so unfair.
Oh, yeah, the one I got is reversible. It's righty or lefty. I just paid a lefty.
Fair enough.
Those are some good views, dude. I gotta learn how to do this.
Fight reviews are the name of the game. When you get to watch your stuff over, you get to learn, and that's like a hidden world inside of the fight.
Yeah, so I can't really tell when the battery, because he's got weapon here, but it starts to shake. It's almost like the stack got broken or something.
Right there,
yeah,
smoke.
Yeah, I smoked out.
And then it died right there.
Is it like a bit of a happy dance? There's like a little bit of a delay. So I'm thinking maybe it was a case where an earlier shot we drove something internally and then just caught during the course of driving around or the next shot. And that's when
he said it was the lipo. He said it was the lipo battery that went, and it still smelled like lipo a week later.
Oh yeah, gotta love lipo batteries.
But that is the look you'll be seeing now. You'll notice right there, it doesn't have those 3 screws on the mount front.
Yeah.
Or anything. And I put the little nubs out there so it doesn't do the thing.
Yeah, I noticed that's a new change that those keep it, make it fold over. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's
probably
cool.
Oversized nubs, but hey.
No. Well, has it helped?
I haven't ended up in that position, so I don't really know.
As soon as you fix something, it's never gonna happen again, right?
Well, but you're ready if it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's interesting.
It's all over me there.
Well, I'm also thinking about like the 3 pound versus 12 pounds because, like, you guys have probably roofed each other a couple times over the course of maybe 30 seconds. And for when Caldera 12 has to deal with that, you're like, oh no. That's like if Caldera 12 hits the ceiling, you're like, that weapon assembly is very sad. Or like that frame rail's bent, something like that.
Oh, that reminds me, Jake.
Yes.
I got new weapons for the verts. They're half inch
good.
now.
Yeah, and that is really, you either got to go short or if you're long, the way that you're long. So I'm at 9.5 inches, and I swear that's the only way that I'm able to get away with a 3/8 blade. The verts and 12s are so hard hitting.
They are
so hard hitting.
I have a 10.5 half-inch. I'm also going to get a 9-inch half-inch stick just for verts.
Yeah.
Keep the same 3/8 inch for the horizontals, I think. But,
yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
The reliability in 12s is just like, everything breaks. I see these. Well, and I'm sure it's worse for 30s, but I see these 3s get roofed like multiple times, and I can never believe that they're still moving after. But the 12s, if you get roofed and you're a 12-pound horizontal, you are cooked. I mean, there's not much you can do. Liam has really been the most reliable horizontal in the field in terms of
Yeah.
like being able to take just abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really impressed
Which I
with
gotta
that.
fix.
Has I'm not checking the wiki right now, but has Caldera fought Buzzkill in 12s?
Buzzkill, yes.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
its first adventure out. I think it was fought Buzzkill.
Oh, okay. So that was a little while back then.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. Because I figured that
Oh, it was Bumble Blitz.
It was
Oh, it was
Bumble. It's
Bumble
a
Blitz.
hammer
Bumble
saw.
Blitz.
Yeah. It's a
Okay,
hammer
okay.
saw.
You fact checked those fast enough. Liam doesn't have to
Sorry.
send an angry text to us.
No,
Very
I
cool.
guess I don't. I guess I don't have to. I have because I haven't fought him. I can't. Their bots so mixed up.
Well, they're all bee themed.
There's too
They're all the
many of
bees.
them.
It was just the bee. You got
It was-
throw a stone. You probably hit the right one.
It's a bee themed robot. They're always a bee themed robot. So what has been the biggest like learning lesson going from the 3 to the 12?
I the biggest lesson I think is just making the weapons handle the verts.
Yeah.
Mm.
And my bot, the 12-pounder, it doesn't drive as well. The ascent comes around way too easy. There's in the test box, it gets great traction. On these floors, there's no traction on those floors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I figure as well with like assuming like the forces automatically are like one thing, but even it's like the weight distribution. Because I'm imagining with the 12, because you have to make a really big diameter bar, because now you need to be able to outreach people, or need to be having a very thick bar so that way it can take the shots from a vert. Maybe that sort of drives the weight distribution a little differently, and that could have an impact versus like the 3 maybe.
On this one, the weight distribution is more because of the battery.
Interesting.
The 12-pound, the battery is on the back side. Just one battery, 6S across the back. On the 3-pounder, it's a saddle just in front of the drive motors. One on each side.
Here, we can watch me lose $800 in a minute and a half. 130 seconds. And it wasn't all on stream. They had to cut from a Mako fight. An early Mako fight. Wow, I did not realize.
Again, Stroopy?
Zane. Alex
Zane,
picks
okay.
Gyro Walker.
Ah, yes.
They cut away from it to this. To the brutalization.
Tap out!
Tap out, immediate pain.
And I wanted all of this, I asked for it.
Oh, there it is.
And right there, that was early on.
Yeah. So this is me learning. So at this point, you were the second horizontal I ever fought. So I really had I didn't know how to fight a horizontal. And that's when I learned. So I've got a 9.5-inch blade that I need to have a bigger option for mid cutters because my reach was, you can see how small that blade is. It's for fighting verts, and that's it. That's the only thing it's good for is fighting verts. And that's what I'm very painfully learning right now is that my blade is completely inadequate for fighting other horizontals.
This was the opening one, and Cal 12 was just a touch overweight. That's why Magma's out there.
I see. So, but you know what? I still gotta thank you for this, Glenn, because ultimately you smashing Maximizer did give us a Jake video, and that's always pretty cool. So it's good to see more innovation as a result of that. But yeah, you like the whole nose, the backup Maximizer just made sad. The plot's still working though, but it's weapon sad.
Let me comment on how hard these wheels are to pull off. This is a direct shot here. Just a direct shot to the wheel. And it's still on there. Look at that. That's fine.
Still going.
All that is a little armor piece that was on top of that. And so, when that happened, that's actually the aluminum hub getting crushed, and then the aluminum hub can't hold on anymore. But yeah,
Man.
no, I don't tap out, and I wanted all of it. And at this point, you turn your weapon off. I thought I was back. I thought I was good to go. No, which is
that's why I turned it off and said, "Are you sure, Jake?"
Yeah, of course I'm sure.
The sportsmanship.
And that's I'm done there. That's because the second wheel had come off at that point. Yeah. Oh, good times. Yeah.
Man. That's good stuff.
Oh.
So actually a question for you then. So when you're thinking going from Caldera the 3-pounder to Caldera the 12-pounder, what was the logic of building it like? So what was the design like for Caldera 12? What things did you want to take from the 3 that you brought to the 12? What things did you learn that you want to add into the 12? What was the difference between the two of them as you're making it?
I wanted to just basically upscale and keep the same weapon design and overall look of design. I did originally start with the same gear drives and stuff, and I found that the 12s, the gear drives stripped. They couldn't handle it. The TPU, and they were TPU gears. They just would strip out. It's now belt drive on the drive, and that's working so much better. And it actually made it faster because it reduced the friction. So, it made the drive better overall.
Going to the belt drive. That's an old photo. That's still TPU gears.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So when you're doing that and you get the big difference in, like, you sort of had the same base idea. Like, all that's very similar. But you still at the core still want to maintain a little bit of difference, just like in the way that you make sure it maintains itself. And I think that's the nice little, like the little gear to belt trick. It's like a tiny thing, but it's something that's uniquely for the 12-pounder that you found makes a lot more sense for it.
Yeah. I've thought about changing it on Cal 3 to belt. I just haven't done it. And with this one, I wanted the 6S battery, and I did not want to go dual batteries. You couldn't fit them in anywhere up front. It's 6S. It's the 6S. So I had to work around that.
This is my favorite Caldera 12 fight because it started out so hopeful for them, and then it just got slowly drained away, and then abruptly broken and sent to the ceiling.
Oh man! So like right now, B or B Johnson,
they have so much hope. Yeah,
they're.
Benny went out there.
John. I see. Oh, and there it goes. Okay. So you took their face out. So you took the face out of it.
And at that point, I looked over and said, "Do you want to keep going?" And he says, "Yes." And if you look at it, he still had his 2 weapon motors in place. Those are probably still good. After he says, "Let's keep going," he lost both weapon motors.
Ooh.
Watch how fast this hits the ceiling. You can see a pile of dust come out. It's ridiculous.
Man. It's like you're just sort of surrounding, like sort of shark dancing around him right now. Bang. Oh my gosh. The beat,
if you blink, you'll miss
teleports
it.
Up there.
Bam!
Dang, it just sort of teleports directly up to the ceiling and back down to the ground.
Oh.
Dang.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, something hit the roof there.
Oh, interesting. More roof.
Look.
More dust moving on the ceiling of the box. Oh my gosh.
That must have been his weapon motor.
Oh my gosh.
No. That was expensive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
I'm cognizant of how much I put into this for money, and
Oh,
I don't want to see people lose their money if they don't have to. Just carry it
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
And it could also save them 30 minutes, 40 minutes of repair time.
oh, I didn't have the video pulled up. I was on the wrong camera view. I'm sorry. Audio. Here we go. Okay, we'll watch it again. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, stream.
Sorry, sir. Our
We have it
chat is
going now.
yelling at us because I had the wrong view pulled up. Okay, so
This is why this is why we do it live. Stuff
yeah,
like this.
yeah, right. Well, and the audio only listeners are gonna get,
Double the trouble. Very cool.
yeah.
But yeah, so Caldera circling. It's
I'm
trying
having
it.
trouble
It's
steering
torn
there.
apart. Interesting. What do you think? What was the steering trouble from?
It's the back end. It's steering too fast. It's turning too fast. I
Oh,
can't turn it just a little. It overturns so bad.
Really?
is that an effect on
That's
the
what
blade? Sort of like it's pulling too hard.
I'm trying to slow it down by get it to turn slower by adjusting the uh, uh, motor speeds on how fast it turns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to figure out how to make it turn better so I can control it better.
Nice.
Because
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
impressive
drifting
stuff.
forward too much.
And see,
Yeah,
Verts don't have this kind of driving problem, but they got a whole nother problem of their own.
that's true.
Yeah, the gyro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, gyro fighting is, I think, the great vert trouble.
Yep.
I mean, if you learn enough, you just learn to turn the power down. But I feel like for horizontals, you're sort of like a torque twisting effect where
Yeah.
I
you're
see.
being pulled by one side because
Yeah,
of bias because of your blade.
See how far I'm oversteering?
Yes, I do. I do. I see the problem
The
now.
back is swinging around, sort of lining itself up for a free shot if he could capitalize. Yeah.
So you feel like that's your biggest limitation with the 12 right now, is that it's just not
Yeah.
Yep. I
That's
totally
that's
see
its
that.
biggest. That's the biggest problem with that.
Oh! You want to keep going?
Throttle pin.
Yes, I do. And at that point, all bets are off. Oh, jeez. Oh. Such an awesome fight. Interesting. So it'll be interesting to see if you can resolve that because I totally see, now that you pointed out, I totally see that how that oversteer is it's just different than the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3 has the same problem, but not near as bad. And I've almost got it dialed out of the 3.
Yeah.
After 120 fights, it's almost dialed out.
Just 120 more. Easy. Excellent stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but thanks for. Go ahead, Jake.
Oh no, you go.
All right. Well, thank you for showing us some of the fights here. Glad to sort of talk it through with you, being able to compare the 3-pounder and the 12-pounder. For now, we're gonna take a quick break, and afterwards, we'll finish out the show.
Guys, thank you.
Yeah, I want to play the clip where I called the 12-pound final and the 30-pound winner. I want to play that because I deserve it. Because I deserve it. Because I deserve it. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Can you hit the plan again? We're gonna do. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Because I deserve it. That's why. All right. Good. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. So we're just gonna ask you about the future Caldera. I get to have my so the last podcast before NHRL in May, I said I didn't predict the 3-pound winner, but I did say on the broadcast, I said minor threat 5 in full court in the final, 4 full court wins, and then I had Kevin Malcheski winning the 30s, so I got it all right, and I get to gloat because I predicted it. All right, welcome back. I didn't realize that. Had a hot mic. Thank you so much for talking with us, Glenn. Our last question: what is the future of Caldera? Where do you see it going?
Caldera 3, it will become. I'm gonna drive towards a success on it. Keep it horizontal. Go to success. Which means it's probably gonna have to grow a little bit in the size and in the back end and that, but otherwise I don't think I'm gonna change much. It's doing so well.
Very cool. It shows. It shows. It shows. All right. We're gonna close the show out. I have to a May recap. I just want to say, if you tune into this broadcast and you're a gambler, that is the best thing that you could do, because we know who's going to win the next event. And to prove it, this clip, this is from the stream this was right before, what was last month? June.
This is this before June HRL.
Whatever. Yeah. And hang on. Application audio capture, desktop audio. Okay, hang on. We got to make sure everyone can hear it. I'm sorry. We're
getting there.
Yeah, right. Application audio capture. Oh, no. Great. Okay. Hang on. Check Google Photos. Okay. This is the back end, but this is important because we have to hear pick. Well, I kind of put myself up for this. I think Red Storm's got it. Boom! 30-pound prediction on stream. That's right. I had it. I had Malcheski winning the 30s, and not only that.
Big Frank.
My top 4.
Let you, Jake.
You know, I'm gonna do a full top 4. I've got a full court minor threat 5 final. I'm going to be real with you. Boom! Boom! That's the level of analysis that you can expect from this broadcast. If you're a gambler and you watch it, it's like free money. That's where we're at with this show.
That is the June NHL recap.
That is the June NHL recap.
Jake was right.
Go put money on all of my predictions. That is financial advice. You can hold me liable. All right.
He writes the script. He knows it.
Let's do robots around the world.
Robots around the world, you say? Well, it's time for it. So the news I have is kind of depressing. So, be excited for that. Denmark recently unveiled a new series of unmanned robotics Voyager sailboats built by the Alameda, California startup Saildrone. So these are 30-foot long vessels that feature no crew, but include a large amount of surveillance devices, including infrared and X-ray sensors. These drones are powered by a combination of wind and solar energy and are designed to mimic more standard sailboats. Danish forces approved use of these for roughly 3 months to patrol the Baltic and Northern Seas as they observe the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. That is, that is the newest robot news. In case anyone had any questions about what's the newest in robotics, half of it is producing like consumer stuff. The other half is war. So how do you feel about new drone sailboats being deployed in Denmark?
I think if Luke Stengel was to escape to one place, I think he would have thought that the high seas would be safe from AI and drones and robots. But, I'm glad that that's, we've closed that. Now he's not safe on the ocean now, on the water. So, Luke Stengel, they're everywhere. Don't even think about getting on a boat.
I would say I'm surprised, but quite frankly, this is like the exact thing I would expect is someone to make more robot stuff. Like you would assume that like sailboat drones be kind of expected. And quite frankly, if I were like a startup in California, I too would be like, what if we just made a boat a robot? And they're like, yes, totally. And that's what it is. We're fast approaching a world where you don't have human bodies in direct warfare. I think everyone's sort of seen that direction going. So it's quite an interesting angle of the future of ongoing conflicts in the world for sure.
Unfortunately.
Glenn, what do you think? What do you think, Glenn?
Well, no matter what, they're going to make weapons out of it.
Oh, that's so grim.
Yeah.
That's so grim.
Yeah, that's kind of how the game is played. But I guess the bright side is I don't really expect them to like begin shooting Caldera missiles at another country. I don't think they're going to be like, let's start hurling horizontals at people. So maybe that's like a bit of a reprieve. Yeah. But I'm more worried of like a Skynet where they're kind of like, okay, so you abused robot animals, so now we're going to send the sail drones after you, and that'll be a whole different thing.
I just want to give them cannons, like pirates. Sure. Okay. All right. Well, that's about it for us today. Thank you for joining on the live broadcast. Thank you for joining on the audio-only podcast. Thank you for watching the VOD, all of those things. This has been Glenn Boxell on Behind the Bots. I'm Jake.
I'm Brandon.
And we'll see you soon with another mystery guest here in a couple weeks. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Glenn. That was fun.